Welcome, everybody. You're watching the Acquisition Council, the monthly show that takes a deep dive into the private vehicle acquisition strategies, best practices, and technology that can help your dealership evolve its in-market efforts. Today, we'll be discussing how to best optimize third-party selling channels. And I'm here with Tom and Mark from Vehicle Acquisition Network. And let me tell you, these two guys are the most versed and knowledgeable subject matter experts on private vehicle acquisition and auto remarketing. Today's topic will definitely be useful for our used car managers out there. So, gentlemen, let's get right to it, shall we? Last time we saw each other, we were making some motion picture magic at the auction. What town were we in, do you remember?
The south suburbs of Crestwood?
Yeah, Crestwood or Alsip?
Yeah, I think it
that's
might
right.
have been Alsip, yeah. What a blast.
It was fun.
Those are a lot of fun projects, and I think everyone did a great job. And, you know, brilliantly written by Joe Webb. He and I directed together, edited together. I think maybe a little bit in the midst you might have seen Joe and I butt heads a little bit. Did you notice that?
I didn't
Oh, we hid it from everybody. Oh, that's great.
I did not. Seamless.
Well, anyway, today we're talking about how to best optimize third-party selling channels. What channels do you feel are top providers in regards to volume?
Good question. This has actually changed quite a bit over the past few years. Craigslist has dominated the space for a long time. And we've noticed over the past 2 to 3 years that there's been a shift from Craigslist being the predominant provider in the U.S. to now Facebook Marketplace, which makes about 61% of the classified listings.
What do you think about that?
That's right. There's no question that Facebook Marketplace has come on very strong in the last couple of years. I think that right behind Facebook Marketplace is Craigslist, primarily because they're still furnishing telephone numbers, which has become somewhat unique in today's market.
People aren't calling each other.
That's true, and companies now realize that the value of that private seller is really important to keep within their captive environment. So each private party platform is now really trying to uniquely set up the communication so that it's not utilizing cell phone numbers. So for example, as Tom just mentioned, Facebook Marketplace uses their captive messenger to communicate with private sellers and buyers.
In fact, Auto Trader's redacted the phone numbers. So if a seller posts a phone number in the ad, I don't know if they've changed it recently, but those numbers are redacted. And the platform that they use is called Blinker. So now it's no longer even email or phones. It's controlled within their platform by an outside provider that helps to regulate the communications. So we know how valuable the data is and the providers to have insights to what cars are being purchased or sold through their platform. If those communications are conducted outside of that platform, they don't know. They're not privy to the information. So by owning that information and being able to identify what's being said back and forth and identifying when a car is actually purchased and sold, that's very valuable information to each of them.
And who likes to get a phone call anymore?
Today, I think text is probably even more predominant than the actual phone call, but we have seen a dwindling number of telephones associated with private seller listings over the last 18 to 24 months.
So speaking of these, we mentioned two major channels, and that is Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Are those the two majors?
They're the majors.
Those
yeah.
are the majors. Do each of them have maybe a different personality?
Absolutely. So specifically Facebook, I think one of the reasons that many sellers have migrated to Facebook is the transparency. So you've heard bad things about Craigslist sellers for quite some time. And it's a little bit shady in some cases where you're meeting somebody, you don't know who's on the other end. You don't know if you're getting catfished. You don't know if you're actually talking to somebody that has an interest in purchasing the vehicle. But with Facebook, you can identify photos, you can see who they associate with, their friends, and you have a lot more credibility behind that phone number or that email address.
What is Craigslist doing to try to keep up with that?
Well, what Craigslist is doing is their interface on the front side is essentially the same it's been for quite some time. What Facebook or what Craigslist has done is more on the back end with security, where they tried to monitor and regulate really who's accessing those listings to ensure that it's not being set up or conducted by bots. And so they really have policed that information pretty closely.
Why do dealers need to optimize their third-party channels?
Yeah, it's a great question. For some of the reasons that we were just discussing with Facebook Marketplace, to have a credible profile is very important for someone who's buying vehicles from private sellers in their market. And we found that the same follows for OfferUp, Car Gurus, and Auto Trader as well. So we train not only on our own solution, but to try to help our dealer partners do better by establishing profiles on each of these private party listing sites that reassure the seller and provide some level of credibility. So we have some best practices structured around that.
When you look at Facebook alone, some dealers prefer that their team members use their personal profiles to conduct engagements back and forth.
Sure.
And that's great from one sense, that the time to start on Facebook Marketplace is instantaneous because you already have an established account.
Sure.
You have information behind it, so you also have more trust from the sellers to the buyers, whoever the individual is. Now, some large auto groups don't want to put their reputation in the hands of individual team members. So if perhaps somebody has opposing political views than what the company may want to put forth, they may not want to have individuals conducting the communications on their behalf with their own personal profile. So what we recommend is that dealers have a professional Facebook profile that allows them to control the narrative of what is put forth to the sellers. Now, there's time involved in doing this because you have to create an account. You have to connect with friends. You have to have posts. You have to have engagement. And there's a time that takes place in order for that to be even accessible to Facebook Marketplace. But there's value in building this brand. So it's the same thing that you'd build the brand of the dealership. This is just the Facebook forward version of that.
Do some dealers, I mean, they have that in place at this point, wouldn't you think?
Some, but most do not.
Wow.
Some do. But there's a difference between a Facebook business profile, which I would say most, if not all, do. But when you're conducting communications on Facebook Marketplace, they only allow the engagement with personal accounts. So a personal account can initiate the contact, whereas a business profile can only respond to somebody initiating with that account.
Well, what we found is that dealerships, our partners, often have their own presence on social media. So for a Facebook account, maybe promoting customer appreciation events, or just as a form of advertising directly to consumers in their markets. We recommend that buyers at the dealerships, as Tom said, cultivate their own professional profile and link that to the dealership, so that a private seller looking that person up through social media, Facebook Marketplace, or other means would immediately see the connection. And that's really what we recommend behind these platforms, is to not be a stranger or be lurking, but rather have a credible profile and use the terms verified buyer in as many locations as you are, so you can, so that private sellers are reassured when they receive a message from you.
So this seems like a list of do's and don'ts in how to optimize. Is there anything else? Any other do's, any other don'ts in optimizing your third-party channels that dealers should pay attention to?
Well, what I would add to that, maybe a little more context about this professional account that we're referring to. A pro account would be still a personal profile, so as opposed to a business profile. And it could be Dave Buys Cars, or Dave Hudson Auto, or something that is more specific.
Hey, I like the sound of that.
Could be a franchise.
Yeah, we're onto something here, fellas.
So it's a personal profile that has some connotation or association of buying cars. So that'd be the first do, is I think it's a really good idea to have a pro account that's established, whether you still utilize team members with their personal profiles, but having that in the back pocket, I think, is a really good strategy.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah. Other do's, I think, would be to have, like as Mark was saying earlier, the individual representation on each of the providers. So, for example, Car Gurus, you have a profile photo, it's OfferUp, you have a profile photo, and you also have the number of cars that have been purchased and sold through the platform. And many of the platforms, you have the ability to have reviews. So it's important that you have representation and branding on each of these that supports the number of cars you purchased. So when you're engaging with sellers, you have more credibility.
What has Van done behind the scenes and on the field to help dealers manage their channels?
I'll jump in
Yeah,
in terms
take
of that response. We've worked really hard to make the interface for Van a one-stop hub for a dealership managing their private seller activities. Not just our integrations with multiple other lead providers, but also other tools that assist the dealership. But some of the real benefits are within our vehicle details pages, providing the dealer the ability to communicate directly with private sellers or to link over and message a private seller directly from the provider platform. So those are just a couple of the updates.
Other things we've done is realizing that these outside provider communication channels are a must. So we have identified the nuances, the behaviors of each of these. And so our team members are equipped to train and coach dealers on how to maximize the presence of these platforms. Also, we've created a Chrome extension that will allow dealers to bridge the gap. So if you're in Van, you're identifying an opportunity, you go over to a native platform like Facebook, like Car Gurus, you're able to identify information of past communications. Pretty soon we'll be adding on to that extension that will permit the dealers the ability to add notes on the native site. So you can be on Facebook, you can be on AutoTrader, Car Gurus, identify what past communications you had, if any, and you can actually do certain actions there on the page. And soon we'll have the ability to do click to call, text from the site. So imagine you're on AutoTrader, you've identified a phone number, and you're able to conduct your communications right there.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time.
A lot of time.
It does. And with at least 12 providers that we're currently aggregating and working through, it makes it a lot easier for the dealership to manage everything through the Van Hub rather than trying to visit each one and learn the nuances. So our performance management team spends time working with each of those providers' nuances directly with the users when we train.
How are these dealers liking this new process?
Really like it. It's difficult to understand the nuances of each of the individual providers. So I think that our partners value the wisdom that our team can bring to them in terms of the do's and don'ts. Oftentimes there are triggers built into systems to prevent abuse. So we often coach our partners to avoid those triggers, like such as just repeated communications to individuals, making sure that you are respectful and stagger those out to make it so when you're operating within the parameters, you have a tremendous amount of success in violating those social media principles. Often results in bans or short-term suspension. So we try to do everything we can to assist our partners to avoid those types of situations.
Yeah. Looks like people are really enjoying what's going on out there, and I really am glad to have had the opportunity to be with you guys today. Tom, Mark, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Hey, listen, if you have any questions for these guys at Vehicle Acquisition Network, they're waiting for your call. They'll answer any question you have, and they can most certainly get your in-market acquisitions handled properly. Thanks for joining us.